welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a product review on the new Bondi Sands foam. It is the combined liquid gold with their self-tanning foam. I first heard about this on Sarah Ashcroft's Instagram. She posted a mini Instagram tutorial on her using it, and as soon as I saw it I was like, that's it, I need it, because I actually have the Bondi Sands liquid gold everyday tanner, so that's the gradual tanner. I've tried the dark foam, I've got the ultra dark foam and the express tan. So when I saw this, I actually really liked the liquid gold everyday, so I thought I wanted to give it a go. So I straight away went and bought this on Superdrug. I think in the UK you can buy it on Superdrug and Boots, and on the Bondi Sands website it retails for $14.99, which is obviously the same as, I know it's the same as Superdrug, and I believe it's going to be the same as Boots. 200ml, the same as the other foams. And it says that this superior formula, sets in a moment, develops over 2 to 3 hours and lasts up for a week, leaving you with perfectly bronzed skin that glows from within. Infused with the fresh scent of coconut and hydrating argan oil, liquid gold is our longest lasting tan and conveniently requires no wash off. The thing I found about the liquid gold every day is that I love the fact that it dried quite quickly, which obviously this one claims it does as well, because I find the foams are actually really sticky and tacky, and I go to bed feeling really like, I don't know how to describe it, like you go to bed and you just feel all sticky. I don't like it. This is what the bottle looks like. It's literally the same size, same shape, everything as the other foams, except it has the gold rim here and the gold writing. All the Bondi Sands products do have the gold logo here, but this just has the gold writing down the bottom, the gold rim and the gold lid, of course. It's plastic, so it's the same as the dark, ultra dark, everything like that, except the express is metal. So this one is plastic, and I actually prefer the plastic bottles. I just feel like they're easier to travel with than the metal. So that's my opinion on the bottle straight away. I like the plastic. I actually quite like the gold. I think it adds a nice touch. It could look a bit tacky, but I don't mind it. So it has that coconut scent like all the foams do. I think that's what Bondi Sands is known for. They have the coconut scent and it smells the same. I found with the express tan it didn't have the coconut smell as much. I found it was a bit more chemically, like it didn't smell as much of coconut compared to like the ultra dark, the dark, and this one does smell of the coconut. For the directions, on the back it says the usual Bondi Sands thing. The thing I realised that it's missing off of this that it has on the other bottles is on the other foams it actually says for a darker tan, leave after 30 minutes, apply another coat, and this one doesn't say that, so I don't know if that was something you could do or couldn't do. And it says wait until touch dry before dressing, requires no wash off, leave foam on skin for at least 6 hours. So when I first pumped this onto my mitt, I did find that it was a different consistency to the other foams. So in this video I am going to keep comparing to the express and the other foams, because I feel like the express is a different consistency of the other foams. If you've used the self-tanning foams and the express, you know that the express is much thicker, and it's almost when you pump it on it like grows, like the foam expands. This one, when I pumped it on onto my mitt, the first thing I realised is that the mitt literally absorbs so much of it. So I actually use the Bondi Sands mitt because I find that it's actually the best mitt. But when I pumped it on, straight away it absorbed a lot of it. And I didn't know if that was just, I didn't know why. But then when I applied it to the skin, I did realise, and I probably should have clocked onto it because of what it says about the product, that it was much more oily than the other foams. So this one was, yeah, it was much oilier. It sunk into the skin a lot nicer, but it didn't have as much of like a colour guide. So this tan doesn't have as much of a colour guide, and so when I was putting it on I was worried that it wasn't going to be that dark. But yeah, so straight off the bat, it does absorb into the skin a lot better than the other ones. It's a lot easier to spread, but that's because it is so much more oily. You can tell the difference that this one actually does have the argan oil in, so it does make the skin feel a lot more hydrating. Normally when I apply the other foams, when I put it on, my skin looks matte and dull, whereas this one, it actually made it look glowy, almost like I put highlighter down my legs. So that's the first thing I noticed, that the consistency was different. When I was applying it, as I said, it applied really nicely. It blended in amazingly, and I felt like I didn't need as much. Because it blended out so nicely, I just felt like I didn't need as much to spread it all over my body. But that may have been that almost there was leftover oil on the mitt. So once I'd applied it all over the body, I don't apply it to my face. So as you can see, after the first coat, I definitely had a tan. It definitely had colour, but obviously this was just straight off. I didn't feel as dark as I would in the ultra dark or even the dark. I didn't feel like it had that much colour payoff instantly. So because of this, I did decide to do a second coat. I mean, it doesn't say you can do a second coat. I don't know if that's because it does have the oil in, it won't work as well. But I waited about 10 minutes and then decided to do another coat. So when applying this second coat, it literally just blended in again so nicely. Didn't have any problems with patchiness. It just blended in and it was fine. So definitely after the second coat, I felt like there was a much better colour payoff. I felt a bit darker. The only place, but this is a problem with all tans, this isn't just this tan. The only place I felt like the colour wasn't as dark was on my chest. But I get that with every tan, it's not just this one. I normally have to like try and pat it into my chest to try and actually make it darker. But with the touch dry, it definitely sunk in and felt drier quicker than the other foams. Saying it was touch dry in seconds is a bit much. Like, it definitely wasn't touch dry in seconds. In a few minutes, yes, which is obviously amazing compared to the other ones, but it wasn't touch dry in seconds. I definitely felt sticky afterwards, especially like under my armpits, back of my knees, like in between my boobs. I definitely felt sticky for a couple minutes, but then after a couple minutes it was fine. So it then says to leave the tan on for at least 6 hours. So I decided to sleep in it because that was what I normally do in my tans. So I applied this at night, slept in it overnight. One thing I noticed when I woke up is I had no transfer on the bed. When I use the dark or the ultra dark, I wake up and my sheets are pink. Not brown or orange, they are pink. Everywhere, my pillows, my duvet, my sheet, it is pink. That is what I hated about the Bondi Sands tan, because I felt that it did have the worst transfer out of all the tans I've tried. But yeah, my sheets weren't pink, they were fine. I couldn't even, I think there's a little bit on my pillow, but that's where my face, and I use a different tan on my face. I use the tanning drops, what are they called? Yeah, I use the Tanologist self-tanning drops on my face. So that wouldn't have even been from the Bondi Sands. When I woke up, I definitely got darker, because that was my main worry when I first put it on. Because it isn't, there's no options, there's no like light, medium, dark or whatever with the liquid gold. I was worried that it wouldn't be dark enough, because different people's skin takes to dyes differently. So like tans, hair dyes, eyebrow dyes, and I don't take to it very well. So like when I do my eyebrows, I have to leave it on for ages. When I do my hair, it washes out really quickly. So I always have to go really, really dark, because when I go in the shower, it just all comes off. But I found with this that I was quite dark, and I was thinking, right, when I go in the shower, it is all going to come off, because I wasn't as dark as when I used the ultra dark. What would normally happen is when I go in the shower, if I had the ultra dark or the express on and wash it off, I'd look down and I'd just have like green, orange water for ages. Like, you would see whilst I was washing it off, like the difference in colour. When I washed this off, there was nothing in the water. Like, the water wasn't orange, it was clear as I was washing it off. When I was in the shower, I was expecting the colour to completely come off, and it didn't. It basically stayed the same colour. So I looked down in the shower and the water was clear. And I was shocked because I was thinking, right, so it's had no transfer, it's dry, and as I'm looking down, colour's clear. As I got off, patted myself dry, and usually when I get out of the shower, if I've got a bit of water droplets, they'll almost be a bit like, you could see them, a different, like darker, and they'd make patches, so I'd have to like pat it to blend it in. This didn't, it was still clear, normal, as if I just had a normal shower without washing tan off. The colour was basically the same, and you'll be able to see from when I went to bed the night before to after my shower, the colour was still golden. Like sometimes with tans they can go a bit green. This was golden. Like it says, it gives you a golden tan. I don't think it's as dark as the ultra dark, but it's a different coloured tan. This one is a golden. It's almost like, it's like you've just been sun-kissed, but darker. I did notice throughout the day I was getting darker, so I think it carried on developing. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely felt like I did get darker throughout the day. Because this is, so I tanned on Friday. I tanned Friday, so it's now Sunday evening, and I think like you can see how I look right. Oh, just ignore this. That's my fault. That's my bad tanning. But like my chest is, it's still tanned compared to what I was, but it hasn't taken as well. So like my belly is quite tanned. Like I'm very impressed by it. Also, my skin feels smooth and hydrated. Normally, I know it's only been, what, 2 days? But normally, by this time, my skin would be starting to go scaly. Because that's, with the Express, my skin didn't go as scaly as the Ultra Dark. When I use the Ultra Dark, my skin literally looks like tiger bread. After a few days, it starts to go scaly. By 4th day, I am tiger bread. All over, I am pure tiger bread. This one, my skin is hydrated. I think that's what I love most, because it does feel hydrated. It does hydrate my skin. It doesn't dry it out, because I do have very dry skin on my body. The only thing I can say is maybe a better colour guide, because if I didn't know how much I needed. But you can see me now, you can see in the video, like it definitely works. It's not as dark as the Ultra Dark, but it gives a golden tan. So I think I actually prefer this, because sometimes I feel like when I use the Ultra Dark, I can, on certain days it can go a bit too dark. But this, I feel like it is a good colour for me. That might just be me personally, because of my skin type, because of my skin tone. But I really do like this tan. I think it's cheaper than the dark, and is it cheaper than the dark? I know the Ultra Dark's like $18.99 or something, so it's only $14.99, so it's cheaper than that, and it gives a nice colour. I probably should have tried it with just the one coat, but I don't think because of my skin type it would have developed as nicely. I think I needed that little bit extra. But overall, I do really, I think it's like the tan. I think it's worth the money. I think I like the packaging. I like the smell. I prefer it to the biscuity smell of other tans. It smells the same as the other foams. I think the reason this one is just better for me is because of the hydrating aspect, and the fact that it doesn't transfer, and it's dry, and you don't feel sticky laying in bed. Like if you want to chuck this in the morning, wait 5 minutes and then go to work, you can, because if you don't want to be sticky at work, you can use this. Yeah, so overall I really like the tan. That's my out of 10. I'd give it like an 8. So this tan was a success. I am happy. I'm happily surprised. I didn't think it was going to be as good as this. I thought it was going to be pale and it would be sticky and God knows what else. But it was good. I'd definitely go out and get it. And by the way, this isn't sponsored. I'm not famous enough to be sponsored. So that's the end of this review. If you liked this kind of video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified when I post videos, please just click the bell button next to my name. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.